Located at 200 West Tilton, Blue Ridge, Texas, with the following items on the agenda for consideration and/or action. It's also known as the City Council office on the 4A board, and so they are in attendance too, but no 4A business will be taken. So item 1 is called to order, roll call. Tammy Crossfire. Here. Dave Sturgeon. Here. Colby Collinsworth.
Present.
Pete Chitwood.
Here.
David Apple.
Here.
And Rhonda Williams. Item 2 is prayer and pledges of allegiance. You can all rise.
Did you bow with me, please? Precious Lord, creator of all things, we thank you that you have brought us together. Thank you, Lord, that you'll be with each and every one as thoughts are presented, decisions are made, and Lord, that we lift up not just here, but your will. Father, thank you for all things, for the blessings upon Blue Ridge, all the communities, and all the people that serve you. Father, continue to watch over us, lead, guide, and direct us. In your holy name I pray of Jesus. Amen.
Amen. Amen.
You'll face the flag. I pledge
allegiance to the United States and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the flag. I pledge allegiance to the Texas, one nation, one indivisible.
Yeah. Thank you. You may be seated.
Item number 3 is public comment. This is the opportunity for the public to address the council on any matter included on the agenda except public hearing. Comments related to public hearings will be heard when the specific hearing begins. Public comments are limited to 3 minutes per speaker unless the speaker requires the assistance of a translator, in which case the speaker is limited to 6 minutes in accordance with the applicable law. To address the council, speakers must complete a speaker form provided to the city secretary prior to the start of the meeting. Each speaker shall approach the front of the council and state his/her name and street address, including the city, before speaking. Speakers shall address the council with civility that is conducive to the public discussion. The public cannot speak from the gallery, but only from the front of the council. Per the Texas Open Meetings Act, the council is permitted to take action on or discuss any item not listed on the agenda. The council may make a statement of fact regarding the item, make a presentation of existing policies, or propose the item be placed on a future agenda in accordance with council procedures. Again, these are only items that are on the agenda. First person, we'll see. Amy Barber. You can make your way to the person. There you go.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Tammy Barber. I live at 10486 County Road 630, Blue Ridge, Texas. I want to start with talking about what's on some of our city values. This is directly from the city's website. Welcome to the city of Blue Ridge. Our city is defined less by boundaries on a map than by the sense of shared values our residents hold dear. We take pride in maintaining a wholesome lifestyle, rich in cultural history, along with a deep commitment to the preservation of our environment and a progressive approach to local business. The city of Blue Ridge, home of the last Texas prairie. We are a great little town just off the normal beaten path. Geographically, we are part of the DFW Metroplex, but it really is hard to remember the city is so close when you live here. Small town life and Texas rural values are a big part of our culture. This is a place where getting to know your neighbors is still considered polite. If you live in the big city and are looking for a more friendly place to live, a better place to raise children, then maybe you should give us a call or drive out here and hang out for an afternoon. There are many reasons people move to this area. Some for nearby jobs, opportunities, affordable housing, good education, facilities, and best of all, the warm weather. Find out for yourself why you should consider making the move to Blue Ridge. I would like to thank our council for their increased transparency and communication across the board, online and publications. I know that there's been efforts there. And I'd also like to thank all the time you spend away from your family serving our community. Our request is that the city continue to seek an appropriate candidate for city administrator that can ensure all local and federal laws are adhered to and record transparent record management. We oppose the annexation of the two properties and documentation referred to as Belladia and Chiara, and apologize if I said that incorrectly. The decisions thus far appear to support the developer and not the local resident taxpayer. Finally, will the city of Blue Ridge remain the last Texas prairie?
We can't hear you. We can't hear you.
I just want to reiterate that the public comment portion under government code 551.
Step up to the mic.
I just wanted to reiterate that the public comment portion of the agenda is for agenda items only, posted agenda items, and that's under the government code 551.007.
She's trying to learn.
Can't hear you.
You just called Barbara Isaac?
Barbara Isaac, to Marco.
First, I want to tell everyone you are welcome to speak on any subject you wish. The attorney has given you the wrong information. We're looking up the code right now, and we will supply you with the code. The code will be brought forth in just a moment to read to you. Meanwhile, I'd like to talk to you about the March 10th meeting.
State your name and address.
Oh, Barbara Isaacs, P.O. Box 79, Allen, Texas, and I also have property here in Blue Ridge. At the March 10th meeting, on your website, you have your minutes, and they do not reflect that several citizens who spoke are not noted on the minutes. So before approving these minutes, those minutes need to be corrected. They are incorrect currently. The other thing I want to remind each of you is that we have an election on May the 3rd. We're going to get 3 new council members in approximately 4 weeks. We also need a new city administrator that needs to be properly vetted by an impartial employment agency, and that we will send over, they should send over those candidates, the top candidates, for an interview with the Blue Ridge Council. Okay, so please hold off on signing any developers agreements or hiring anyone until after the new city council is elected. Due diligence has not been conducted in the past, and we need to have that going forward. Mr. Stanley is the candidate tonight that they're talking to. He's the former city administrator of Hill. And I have put in an open records request. I have his employment records with me, which I'm going to turn over to the council. And you will see that Mr. Stanley has very questionable background. The KX2 news station reported that he was writing checks to himself, which is considered embezzlement, and that he was also not paying the city bills. So the bills went without being paid, yet he was paying himself. There were a lot of other questionable things about brown drinking water, contaminated water, other things like that, families that had their homes flooded that were not addressed. I will turn over the records that I got from Howe, the city of Howe. Edie Sims retires today, my understanding. I want this council to do some housekeeping. I want you to change all the passwords on your city computers. Please change all login information. Please remove her from city bank accounts. Please change locks on doors or rekey them. No access should be permitted after today into city buildings without supervision. And again, I do have the open records request, which I will hand over to the council tonight for them to look at this. Thank you.
Government Code, Chapter 551.007.
No one can hear you. No one can hear anything you say. Hold on a minute. Hold on a second, guys. I'm coming.
The citation to Texas Government Code, Section 551.007 is the accurate citation for public testimony, which in subpart B you would see. Also, that was adopted in 2019 when that became effective. This meeting has been properly posted under the Texas Open Meetings Act, which is codified in Chapter 551 of the Government Code.
Okay. Now we have Ronald Dillner. Sorry if I mispronounced these. Okay, thank you.
You did it correctly.
Okay, thank you.
I'm Ronald Dubner. I live at 3604 Dandelion in Plano. I am requesting the city council to delay any actions on any matters that are presently involving the city administrator, and also to make sure that we get an opinion from the Attorney General on Section 4.22 of the developers agreements relating to the anti-boycott, anti-Israel boycott. And what should be done is wait for the seating of the new city council. And after a time that the city council has done its due diligence to make sure that the contract is correct and that you have considered all the implications and innuendos of the development agreements. So I urge you to delay any action until the city council, the new city council, has had a chance to really look through what you're involved in with regard to the two projects. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next, we have Jennifer Yock, or Yak, I'm not sure. Yock, okay.
Hello, I live in the trails of Blue Ridge. My name is Jennifer Yock.
Take your address, please.
700 The Trails Drive in Blue Ridge, Texas. I I had some talking points about the annexation of Validaya neighborhood. I'm sorry if I didn't pronounce that properly. The agenda item that I wanted to speak about was the assessments and public improvement. That in our town, we've had a lot of issues with not having the enough improvements for large neighborhoods to come in when we don't have the infrastructure. Sorry, I'm trying to read off my phone. Back up. Okay. The second point is to make sure that all laws are followed, that the Attorney General would be spoken with in order to deal with any laws. And then the third one is
No one can
that
hear you.
Sorry about that. Maybe we can turn the mic back on and turn the phone off. All right. Where's the mic? Is it working?
No. Other folks.
Where's, me?
I'll restart it. I'll restart it. Okay.
Try it again. Can you hear me now?
No.
No.
Is it on?
I don't know. It's got a light on. Yeah, I'm probably just a moment. No problem. That's
Yeah, I can put this one up here. I mean, because I've got that in my voice. I can just. He's right there behind you.
okay. Yeah, that's illegal too. Yeah, it doesn't matter. They can speak on any subject. That's the point. Let's try this one. Okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, good. All right, so I live in the Trails of Blue Ridge. I have 3 talking points, and they were related to public improvement, that our city does not have the infrastructure to support a large neighborhood of the nature of the Validaya neighborhood that we were hearing about. We've had several other neighborhoods that have been denied because the infrastructure was not there. Such things as water, fire department, and other issues related to that. A second point was that we want to make sure the laws are being followed. The Attorney General is already looking into some of these things. But there is the issue with the section that says boycott Israel, that the city needs to be transparent about what is the purpose of the developers if they're going to have this neighborhood. And again, that they should talk to the Attorney General. And the third is segregation, that I have lived in a segregated community in Memphis, Tennessee. And I know that there is no such thing as separate but equal. And if we're trying to have it separate, it's not going to be fair and it's not going to be according to the laws of our land. So with this being said, I'd like to have the voters vote in the next election before any decision is made. Thank you.
Next we have is Alex Gamble. He's making his way up our back.
Alex Gamble at 8239 Morgan Road. Good evening, Mayor, council members, and city staff. First, allow me to say I come up here tonight to raise legitimate questions with respect to the city's decision regarding pending development agreements and plans to hire a new city staff member. As a Jesus Christ believer, I'm commanded by the Lord to a wise man will hear and will increase learning, and a man of understanding shall attain unto wise counsels. Proverbs 1, verse 5. I'm seeking your counsel to get clarity in terms of the data made available to the city, in terms of council meeting minutes, official filings, and many shared testimonies by Blue Ridge residents. It's very unclear and confusing how the city arrived at these pending development agreements and appointing Mr. Jeff Stanley. I can only conclude that these latest city decisions are not in the best interest of the community. This leads to more questions I have for the city, such as the growth in our area presentation back in 2024. 11 slides were left blank. What are these slides trying to convey to the community? With the cloud of controversy surrounding Mr. Jeff Stanley's appointment and his sudden resignation from a nearby city, the city's decision to date on these matters is extremely alarming and unsettling. What due process from the city is there aiming to protect the safety, well-being, and welfare of the community? What level of standard of care was exercised for the Blue Ridge community? This is why I oppose the hiring of Mr. Jeff Stanley or any city administrator, the signing of any developer's agreement, and I oppose the annexation until after May 3rd election and after the new council has time to do their due diligence on behalf of the community residents of Blue Ridge. This also includes multiplechange.org petitions that are circulating online with over 233 signatures in agreement and opposing these agreements. Thank you and Godspeed.
And next I have, it's Lee Moore.
Lee Moore is parking. She had to repark, so she'll be in a minute. If you can delay and have her come up in a
Okay,
minute.
I'll move to the next person. Susan Christensen. There you are.
Hello, I'm happy to be here. I'm from Plano, so I'm from Collin County. And the reason I'm here.
Your address, please.
Oh, sure. Think about it. 1777 Boysenberry Lane, Plano, Texas. I am a precinct chair. And the reason I'm here tonight, I hate to even speak because there's so many Blue Ridge people here and you're the ones that are important. But yesterday we had a meeting in Collin County and you may have heard about it. And Chris, our judge, wrote, and thank you, Chris Hill. Just take me a minute. It was 4 hours long. People from Cook County, I mean, not Cook County, people from, I'm a little nervous, people from Dallas County, Denton County, Hunt County, and Collin County came. There were hundreds of people there. 70 people spoke. 2 people spoke for the project, which is Epic. And I know Epic City is not just, it's Josephine and not Blue Ridge. But people like me come all this distance because we're fearful that the same thing that has been happening with Epic City is happening in your small, beautiful city. I've never been here before. I drove through the hills, and now I know why my cross-searcher brought her horses here. It's a beautiful place, and I think we're being hoodwinked. And so I'm just hoping. I was actually going to read some things. Just a minute. I'm trying to get it done. trying to put it down. Yeah, I don't want to lose my minutes. I just want to say that people all over the state are concerned about what's happening to your city because it's sort of an organization. It's not a religious thing. It's that Islam is, this whole project is a culture, and the culture that they're forcing on us is not just, it's enclosed and it's against the Constitution. Yes, it's against the Constitution. But it's just against the Constitution. It's going to be harmful to everybody that's here because they have their own schools, they have their own rules, they have their own police, they have their own cemeteries, they have their own Sharia. And I know back in Sharia, I know that back when I was a mortgage person because they don't believe in interest rates, so they have to have their own banks. It's a foreign culture that they want to come here, take your land and make it theirs. And I'm very much against that, whether I'm. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Has Lee Moore come back in, made it back in yet? Okay, well, if you want to make your way up to the thing, we'll get back in order here. Could you just state your name and your address, please?
Lee Moore, and I don't feel comfortable giving my address, but I'm there from Fairview, Texas.
Okay.
It's on the sheet. It's on the sheet. My address is. Thank you for serving your community. I came here back on March 10th, and I can't even imagine the job that y'all have to do. So it's a big job. And I know that some of the decisions that you make are not just for today. That's one of my comments I made from last time. It's not just for today, it's for your kids and your grandkids. So those are the decisions that you're going to be making. I appreciate that you postponed that decision on the developmental agreements on those massive Islamic enclaves that were planned here. And as you know, since that time, both Paxton has started some investigation into some of the other communities. I think there's probably been some other people talk about that. So now there's criminal activities that are being investigated. So it's even more important to make sure that you're not just investigating those developmental agreements for the water and sewage and fire and police and roads and all those things. So now you have to look into them because it was revealed today that the owners of those properties are associated with terrorist groups. And so you need to make sure that you don't want to be associated with any criminal activity. So I just wanted to make sure that you are doing the diligence to make sure and do more than just the normal studies on these properties. Thank you.
Next, we have Pam Sardo. Sardo.
Thank you, everyone, for the opportunity to be here today. And Edie, you are my sister in Christ, but I do have some things to say. My address is 2006 Harvest Lake. And I have lived and worked overseas with many diverse populations, and I would be honored to give you the same packet I have given to Tom Home and our borders are, if you're willing to meet with me offline. Also, regarding the off-agenda topics, House Bill 2840, which was under the Texas Municipal League, does give us the opportunity to discuss anything that is being deliberated. Thank you very much. So now I'm losing my minutes. Let's talk about police. Blue Ridge does not have a police force and relies on county deputies. Hiring additional deputies or sheriffs does not seem to be occurring now. Accrued time off was just discussed at the Commissioner's Court yesterday. Regarding the development, how will you address unmet police and deputy needs? Have you benchmarked with other cities to determine The transparency, are they going to be transparent with you regarding what functions they will be having on the properties? How will you ask about the high volume of traffic and large number of events they will host every day regarding requiring police to redirect traffic? Now let's talk about the fact that I would request that you review Texas Code 1701 and the Texas Administrative Code and the ICMA Public Safety Management White Paper. That proposes an average of 2.5 officers needed per 1,000 population. I ask you to take a look at that and then reveal to the citizens the cost is going to be to all of the citizens here. Now let's talk about House Bill 89. I'm not an attorney, but I will ask, will you please insist the Texas House Bill 89 from 2017 and references to Section 1, Subtitle F, Title 10, Government Code, including Chapter 2270, be included in all development agreements, please? I know you're very smart people. This is a legal issue and an important economic issue, and according to the Attorney General, Ken Paxton's communication, Israel is Texas's fourth largest trading partner. Now let's talk about financial web, opaque structures, and legal risk. Will you please research the development that seems to be built through a tangled mesh of nonprofit entities and for-profit corporations and real estate vehicles? Will you please assess the disclosure, the tax liability reduction, and the funding sources? My understanding is that the IRS regulations strictly forbid tax-exempt organizations from using their status to enrich private investors and affiliated businesses. Will you please consider and research these red flags and legal concerns about the LLCs and the partners? Now, I'm also going to share with you that one of the factors in other areas nearby here is that they seem to restrict property ownership to individuals who align with the vision that they have, and that they transfer property and do not sell it. Therefore, there are 10,000 realtors in Collin County, and you will be unfortunately preventing them from feeding their families. Thank you very much. I appreciate everything you do.
Awesome.
Next, we have Gwen Reynolds.
I live in Joseph. Yeah. Pray. Hi, all of you. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. You can probably hear me without the microphone. Okay. I have come to believe.
State
So
your
I'm
name
sorry,
and
I'm Gwen Reynolds,
address.
and I'm just giving my PO box because of the same reason. PO Box 7, and it's in Farmersville, but I'm right on the border of Blue Ridge. And anything that happens in Blue Ridge affects me. I've just got to say to y'all, I have come to believe that the city council does not know the term always research before making a decision, especially a final decision. I don't believe you know what that means. Every time I think the incompetency has lessened, you prove me wrong. The examples of this obviously are, number one, the annexation of the 2 Islamic properties, along with all the new associated problems that go along with that. You have annexed in a parasite. They're not going to bring anything to y'all except for trouble, period. Second, the lightning fast move to hire Jeff Stanley, former city administrator of Howe, Texas. You're a nice guy, and I met you the other day, but are you really serious about doing this? How many other candidates did you even interview? I saw a number of candidates that wanted to be candidates online, and they said they never heard from you. So I don't know if you interviewed those people or not. Do you truly feel this move to hire Jeff is advisable? You're already surrounded by hot water, so why are you really doing this? I mean, it's like you're putting kindling under the pot. You want to get sued. I just don't get it. I really don't. So because of your many issues, and there are major issues revolving around poor decisions made by this council, I am strongly requesting that this city council stands down and refrains from making any and all final decisions, except for the daily running of the city operations, until the new city council is seated in May. I cannot stress that enough. Just give it up, give it to the new city council, and let's go forward. Because right now, there's a lot of hot water and a lot of issues, a lot of problems. And we'd like to be safe in our community. And what's going on is just not acceptable. That's it.
Item number 10, or I'm sorry, excuse me, I'm just writing my numbers here to keep people's names. Next we have Bill Kenyon.
Bill Kenyon, 10289 CR 671. I just have a couple quick things. Here shows on April 13th, we're going to have an Easter egg hunt. Do any of you think we'll have an Easter egg hunt if you annex that property? Second thing is real simple. Can we please get some microphones and speakers at work? Thank you.
Okay, next we have Ethan Red. Where is he? There he is.
Ethan Rutten, 2021 Graybill Road. I'm going to plead a little ignorance because there is, well, I think a lot of people here could plead ignorance about the Muslim Islamic developments. What does the city stand to benefit by annexing these into the city limits? Tax money. No, I don't think so. Impact fees? Probably not, because you can't provide them services. Right? So, how many homes are in these buildings? How many voters of this type of people will be in these homes? How many voters are currently right now within the city limit borders? What happens in 5 years? What happens in 10 years? Are any of y'all on council?
Nope.
I ask each one of you to really look, to really consider, is it worth it for us as a community to do this? What are we selling? Are we selling something today, or are we selling something forever? I grew up in Blue Ridge. I see a lot of people I grew up with here. Everybody's good folk, God-fearing. When you ask them, what does WWJD stand for? It's what would Jesus do, right?
Amen.
So in 10 years, when these are developed, and there is a ton of voters, and we're outvoted, is that going to be what's WWJD? What would jihad do?
Okay, Christina Rogers. Oh, you're not on there? Okay, I'm sorry. We'll take that one off. Thank you. And she asked to be taken off. I didn't take her off. She asked. So, okay. Next one's Deanna Sampson.
Thank you. Deanne Sampson. I live at 12248 County Road 580, Blue Ridge, Texas. I've lived there for about 35 years. My goal was to leave my daughter a legacy. Now I'm not so sure, but that's what I want to do, depending on how all this turns out. First of all, I think we need to hold up and wait and take a look at some of these contracts and agreements and developer plans that we have. It seems to me what we've signed so far isn't that great. I sign contracts for a living. I'm not a lawyer, but I would be fired if I signed some of these things that I've seen out there on the website. We need to take a break on hiring. We need to take a break on making decisions until the new employees are in place, or the city council's in place. And we need to take a break and look at candidates and look to hire more interview more candidates for the open position that we have for city administrator. Thank you very much.
Krista Shield, Royce City, Texas, and I'm not giving you the street number because I was tailed here today. And sir, I don't get to claim ignorance because I was a flight attendant for American Airlines during the 9/11 attacks, and I've been highly trained by people who taught counterterrorism at the upper echelons of our government. I spoke on the issue of Captex Bank 2 meetings ago with all of you on March 10th, 2025. The Blue Ridge City Council was asked to review item 16 on that agenda and the ties between your city council and the city of Blue Ridge with the Muslim LLCs. There's been no transparency and no answers on that. Do you realize that if you do a joint bank account with them, that you are violating Texas laws? And they're also violating their 501c3 because all monies in these developments flow back to the mosque. Another question that we need to have openly with our city attorney is section 4.22 of the development agreement. It's in regard to the title Boycott of Israel. The purpose of asking this question, of having this section removed from the agreement, is because the developer is privately funded. That was in the city council minutes of November 12, 24. This clause is required under Texas Government Code 2271, which prohibits public entities from entering into contracts with any business that engages in or promotes boycotts of Israel. I've listened to plenty of videos of Yasser Qadi, the scholar out of Epic City, and these guys, and they talk about how to boycott, divest, and sanctions on Israel. They teach it to their people. They're moving here. Had the city approved that agreement, without it, the contract would have been legally void and the council would have been in direct violation of state law. Okay, I want to clue you in as to one of the developers of Hamra Homes, Suhana Kareem, the purchase manager of Hamra Homes, which you're doing business with currently, stated this on her LinkedIn page. She publicly celebrated this quote: Hamas is victorious on the battlefield. Hamas is victorious in winning the public opinion. Hamas is still working and effective despite the destruction. Hamas still maintains almost all the prisoners it took 8 months ago. Hamas defeated Israel and the entire West. They consider us right here in Blue Ridge already defeated. History will judge the 8 months as one of the most brilliant and amazing military achievements in all of military history. Hamas changed history forever. Gaza wins. That's who you're inviting into your community. And unless you want to be complicit, you're going to say no to this. You're going to stand up, get a spine today, and say absolutely not.
I'm just trying, yeah, okay, Charles Boone. Okay, we'll move on and he walks in from outside. It's Charles Boone. Okay, so we'll move to, Caroline Knowles. Carolyn.
My name is Caroline Knowles. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes. I live at 507 South Business Highway 78 here in Blue Ridge. I purchased property in 2019 with the intention to move here. I have lived all over the world, but I really felt like Blue Ridge was home. And I moved here officially in 2021. I oppose annexation efforts until after May 3rd election and the outcomes of Governor Abbott's multiple investigations. The Texas Rangers are now involved, and I think it's important for us to know where we stand legally. I oppose permits issued to present and future development until a Plans and Development Committee can be formed. The last plan that we had was 2012, and it bears repeating that we need to see where the city is growing and make plans and codes and compliance accordingly. Item 8, oppose any hiring of a city administrator without proper vetting. The candidate being discussed is Mr. Jeff Stanley. He's committed questionable actions in a position of trust for the city of Howell. Support interim appointment of city administrator to conduct city business until after the May 3rd election. I also believe that the city attorney has provided misinformation to the council and the residents of Blue Ridge tonight and previously. And so I would want more oversight of this position and possible reappointment of a different city attorney so that we can be advised appropriately.
We'll go back. Is Charles Boone here or has he decided? She should lose her. Oh, okay. I didn't see you, sir. Okay. Okay. So next we have Glenn DeBoer. Okay. Gary Lillard.
My name's Gary Lillard. I live at 9902 County Road 667, Blue Ridge. I'm also on the school board for Blue Ridge. Question I have for y'all, why are we even having this debate? You're working for every good person in this audience. Can we not just say now bring it, let's postpone this thing for 2 months and reevaluate with the new city council when it comes up? I mean, nobody's for it. We don't even have a police department. You're gonna move that in out there? You didn't even take in the development right at our back door here, but we want to go 7 or 8 miles down the road and take in somebody?
Amen.
It don't make any sense. That's all I got to say. Think about what's going on. You're working for everybody here.
We have Randy Black. Okay.
I'm Randy Black. Address is 8550 Private Road 5337 Blue Ridge. I would just like to see the council postpone this signing of the annexation until after May 3rd, when we do have a chance to review all the paperwork. Thank you very much.
We have Jessica Casey.
I'm Jessica Casey. I live at 206 East Heap Street. I have with me right now is local government code section 43.0687. It states that we can petition you to make the annex that's under the subchapter is signed by the number of registered voters of the city in the area. Or wait, hold on. Too short. Oh, thank you. Okay. The petition protesting the annexation of the area under the subchapter is signed by the number of registered voters in the city, postponing the annexation equal to at least 50% of the number of voters that voted in the last city election is received by the secretary, which I have sent the last 2 days. I've sent it to both the secretary and the assistant secretary, that they have to postpone this and make it a vote by the people in the next election. I have 400 signatures. Yay! You can obviously see that probably not all 400 signatures were actually voters inside the city limits, but there is more than enough to make this an actual something that we get to vote on. We don't want to be associated with people that support and celebrate the killing of Jews on October 7th. You're somebody that said that you defeated the West. Sorry, we're the West. We're not defeated. We're standing strong. Thank you.
I got it. You did such a good job.
Good job. Good job. Next, we have Alex Dickerson. Oh, she said it? Okay. Yes, next, we have Sabrina Farowski. Okay. Then I have Eileen Lee. Leland.
She's talking, I'm hoping I'll talk like my tongue.
Okay. Haley Bates.
I'm Haley Bates. I live at 6908 FM 1377 Blue Ridge, Texas. Look, I'm probably one of the youngest people here to speak. This is my town too, right? So I got my rights to be able to say what I think, but I don't agree with the annexation. This is the home I've always grown up. I've always lived here. I've always grown up here. We're good people, and they don't believe the same things that we do here in this great community. They sit here and they believe in radical ideas that we have never supported. And I grew up post terrorism of 9/11. Y'all had got to experience what it was like before that, when there wasn't fear in the world that we experience here today. But that's what I've always known. So to protect what I have here and my freedoms, I'm here for it. I stand with the people of this town that don't agree with what you're doing. You're not going to be here in the next 10 years on this council. So at the very least, I think y'all need to table the movement. Thank you.
Yeah.
Next, we have Wendy Mattingly. There she is.
Hi, Wendy Mattingly, 415 West FM 545. I want to speak to item 8 with the resolution to hire a city administrator. The March 10th meeting is when it was discussed about creating, I guess, the job description for city administrator. I could be wrong on my dates, but I know that was on the executive session. I looked for it to be posted. It was 1 or 2, maybe even 3 days before it was actually posted on the city's website. Then there was a notification that went out on that Friday, 18th, 19th, whatever that Friday was, that there was going to be a special session with regard to city administrator. I showed up, several other citizens did, because we wanted to know what was going on. There was a gentleman there, Mr. Stanley. We did speak to him, and he seemed like a very nice man that was being interviewed. We did speak and said, please slow this down. Do not make any decisions with regard to a city administrator or the development agreements until new council is seated. Elections start in a couple of weeks. And then the next thing I know, we are hiring him. I'm very concerned about this. I don't know why you're totally ignoring. I would like to know when Mr. Stanley put his application in, how many other applicants put their applications in, why no one else was reviewed, why it's being closed in such a short time frame. For a city administrator, that is a very short time frame to leave a job posted. This is a very important, especially considering what we're going through right now. I would ask that you not sign that resolution until after the new city council gets voted in. Thank you.
We have a Cody Bitts.
Cody Bitts, 8340 North State Highway 78, Blue Ridge. I'd just like to say that after today, you'll no longer have the luxury to claim ignorance. You'll no longer be ignorant of where the overwhelming majority of the city members and surrounding communities stand on this matter. The lack of resources like water, firefighters, police, and the self-segregated community with discriminatory housing issues are some of the points you'll hear tonight, greater detail than I can provide. The fact that you've come this far without catching the attention of the community shows weakness and a lack of courage in your convictions. You are supposed to represent the area, not your own self-interest. Tonight you have the opportunity to be strong. I heard that when tolerance is a one-way street, it leads to cultural suicide. I think you've put us on that street. So if you feel like you should probably just step down so someone else can get in your place.
Okay, then we have Camille Sheehan.
It was on. My name is Camille Shin. I live at 320 South Morrow Street in Blue Ridge, Texas. And I'm here to oppose the annexation. I've been a resident of this community in June for 82 years. I'm a four generations of my family were raised in Blue Ridge. And I do not like to see what is turning this city into. I think it's wrong. I think that we should have a say. I know that there's one person on our council. Her dad served in Vietnam to protect this country. I know he would definitely not be voting for this. I remember 9/11 exactly where I was that day.
Amen.
I walked into my office and some other people were watching it on TV. I thought they were watching some kind of horror film till I realized it was the Twin Towers and all the people that gave their life that day. And now all the people in Israel that have been slaughtered by these people, and we want them to be our neighbor?
No. Hamas.
I don't think so. I've got children and great grandchildren, as you can see. I don't want them growing up in this situation. I want them to grow up in a place like I grew up in Blue Ridge, Texas. They won't have that opportunity. And Edie's day is the last day. So the rest of you, whatever happens after that, y'all agree to this, then it's going to be on you. You're going to have to face your neighbors and your friends. And you will be her scapegoat. So you need to think about what you're thinking about doing. And I don't want to do it at all, period. But especially not now. Thank you.
We have Brad and Marcia Fisher.
Nothing to say.
Okay. Okay, Tanya Harrison. Tanya not here? Okay. Yeah, I think I'll be somewhere.
Yeah, we scared her. Be for number 6.
Okay. State your name and your address, please.
Bonnie Harrison, 9969 FM 545.
Thank you.
You gotta get the mic. I'm okay. She can hear me. Are we on number 6?
Yeah, that's what you have. Well,
Okay.
yeah, that's what you have on there.
All right, so I noticed on the agenda that you are trying to point people to the VRCDC board. I've already done this once, and the last person that y'all appointed that didn't come to us, that didn't go through the proper channels, y'all assigned them to us. Out of 11 meetings, she has attended 2 and only 1 event. Like this last time, we have canceled 4 meetings due to no quorum. One of us the last time had a surgery and the other one had flu. And because she was still on our on our roster, we could not hold our meeting. Okay. So it's kind of aggravating because we're working on our building over here, the resource center. We can't get our CO. We can't get our permits or our inspections done or anything like that because we have to have a meeting before that. So as we're going over the contract, once y'all have decided to appoint people, I am going to suggest, because y'all know me, I'm going to tell you what I think. I am going to suggest that instead of appointing someone here without telling us and they just show up to a meeting, or 2, have them show up at one of our meetings to see if this is something they even want to do. Okay. So what is happening is that if they don't want to do it, if they come to the meeting, as soon as you tell them that our events are normally on Saturday or Sunday, they're done. They don't come to the meeting, they don't show up, and they don't participate in the events. We can't hold meetings without everybody being there. So we had 5. Y'all appointed a 6th person that requires us to have 4 people. This person's never showing up. So now you're going to appoint another one. That's going to require us to have 7. That's going to require us to have 5. There's 7 of us. We have to have 5. There's not enough people. That's never going to work. We cannot hold our meetings with this happening like that. So I would just like to recommend that this person that you're wanting to appoint come to the meeting, see what we do, see if it's even something they want to do. Thank you on that one.
Thank you.
I'm number 7 too.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
All right, number 7, that is for our Easter event that we're going to be having. I know that we are requesting that the square be shut down. I'm also going to request the south side of the square to be shut down. I'm also going to request that we waive the fee, which is normal. And can we get additional trash cans like we did for the Harvest Festival? That was so much easier for us to clean up. I would like at least 4 over by the playground if possible.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Because they don't come to the meetings.
Okay, next we have Gail Cotton.
Why don't you need to be home in bed? This is Gail Cotton. My address is 11916 County Road 1065, Princeton. But I'm in your ETJ, so we're affected by this. The property that they're talking about, the 126.36 acres, is down the road from my house, about a quarter mile. Plus about a row of people back here are my neighbors. So I'm in pain, y'all. I have an arm. Okay, so this is what I want to ask you. Where were you on 9/11? Because some of these people in Richardson were already being arrested for terroristic activity, giving money to Hamas. There's proof of it. If you want to see it, I'll show it to you. But I know that my family is service oriented. My father, my uncles, my brothers, my grandson's in the Marines right now. Not one damn one of these people have fought in the service for this country, and they come here and want to take everything and not pay any taxes on it because they're getting coached by these attorneys. If you could, I don't know about welfare, but if you got terroristic money, you don't need welfare. But anyway, I've lived there 30 years. When you move someplace, you do kind of go, well, man, I really like it out here. Hell, there's a whole bunch of people, they barbecue and they live out in the country, they go skinny dipping and whatever you gonna do, That's true. So I worked my hind end off. I wasn't a welfare mom. I didn't drag 3 kids to the mud to get food stamps. I worked, paid the taxes, paid for my house. Didn't have an old dirty leg husband to pay for it. I did. So yeah, it matters. And if that development was built there, I feel like it devalues the property. Who's going to want to move out here anywhere around there saying, well, they just put in a mosque. You can't really go there. They don't really like you, but you can, there's one there if you want to. Y'all have a good night. I gotta go to bed.
Thanks for coming, Gail.
We have a Julie Thornburn.
I don't know if I can follow that well. I'm Julie Thurburn. My address is 111-176 Progressive Street in Frisco. I want to talk about the annexation of the 2 Islamic developments. I want to thank you for the opportunity to express my grave concern today about the desire of some to create a separate community in our great state that is based on the principles of Islam. Islam may seem to be just a religion, but Sharia law is a form of government, and a foreign government being allowed to take place on our sovereign land is wrong.
Yep.
You can't be a patriot and agree that the practice of Islam is acceptable. But before I go any further, I feel it's necessary to remember that Islam was founded by Muhammad when he was 40 years old. And among its principal tenets is that all Muslims shall look to Muhammad as the perfect example of how a Muslim should live and behave. To that point, we need to remember that when Muhammad, the perfect example of how a Muslim should live and behave, was 53 years old, when he became engaged to a 6-year-old child to become his wife. And at the age of 9 years old, he married and consummated the marriage with her. This is taught to be practiced in the Islamic community.
Muhammad killed hundreds of Jews and Christians and pronounced that all non-believers should be subjugated by Muslims. Muhammad, the perfect example of a Muslim, according to the Quran, has said that to lie to an unbeliever in the furtherance of the Islamic goal of creating a Muslim caliphate is acceptable.
Right. Yeah.
Islam is a political movement as much as the religion and the legal expression of Islam is expressed in Sharia law. Sharia law specifically stipulates that only Muslims have legal standing and that before a Sharia court, non-Muslims have no legal rights. Further, under Sharia law, women are considered equivalent to half a man when it comes to rights and testimony, meaning that it takes the testimony of two women to equal the testimony of one man in legal proceedings. To allow this kind of caustic and cancerous political ideology to gain a legitimate political foothold in Texas or in this sovereign nation, when virtually every important tenet and aspect of Islam is designed to challenge, replace, and dominate traditional Christian and American moral and political values and principles, is an important idea must be nipped in the bud.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next we have Gabriella Axworth.
Hi, I'm Gabriella Axworth, and I would decline to leave my address. I was born and raised in Texas in a small town called Buffalo. Got married in 2012, and when my husband and I were looking to put down roots, we chose Blue Ridge and never looked back. I have 5 kids that we raised here, and we've loved it. So my mom prided herself in being a 6th generation Texan, and so now that's on to the 7th generation. The Texas that I know now is different than it was when I was a child. She is more ethnically diverse with families and individuals from all around the world. This is a beautiful thing, but we owe it to our children and our grandchildren to ensure that the foundation that was laid and allowed us to thrive here is preserved for future generations. I'm opposed to any housing community that excludes others based on religion. Whether segregation happens explicitly or whether it is expertly and deliberately woven into infrastructure, the outcome is the same. Texas families and families here in Blue Ridge deserve better. Thank you.
Next we have Samuel Hall.
My name is Samuel Hall. I've declined to give my address for fear of safety. I am the president and founder of Patriots for American Militia. We're a nonprofit Christian conservative organization that helps rescue children out of sex trafficking. We've been on the border the last 3.5 years, protecting this state, this country, from the Biden regime that opened up our borders and allowed terrorists to come through. What I'd like to speak on today is the annexation of this Muslim community and the Sharia law that comes along with it. Council, thank you for having me. Take a look at this whole room that you see right here. Everybody here is in opposition to this one very critical issue. Mind you, you're sitting in those chairs right now. But you see, Islam has this subjugation. It's called a methodology. And what they do is they infiltrate communities, raise the number of their constituents, and then your job and your job and your job and your job is gone. All you have to do is look at the UK right now, where you have Muslim no-go zones, where they repeatedly rape women, where they repeatedly hurt civilians, hurt citizens. And guess who's to blame? The citizen for going there, not the people there. You can't even pray in front of an abortion clinic quietly without getting arrested. And God forbid you post anything on social media that's even halfway restrictive or halfway offensive, because then you're going to get arrested. Blue Ridge doesn't want that. America doesn't want that. We want safety for our children. That's what we want. We want an American town, city where we can feel safe, where we can go home to our children and raise them with American Christian values if we so choose, and not be in fear of our safety, our lives, and sending our kids to school. Listen, this is just the beginning. This is how it starts. But look at the UK. Now they've lost. The UK's gone. They're lost. Muslims and Islam in the extreme version, they've all taken over. You guys' seats are all gone. They're gone. Enjoy that seat while you have it, because if you do this right now, if you make this decision now, those seats will be filled with Islam, and Sharia law will be the law of the land. Do you really want that? Do y'all really want that? No! So why is it even a consideration here in Blue Ridge, Texas? I'm a native Texan. I love my state. I love my communities. I'm a neighbor of Blue Ridge. I'm a Cullen County resident. I'm going to speak the truth, because Edmund Burke said this: the only thing for evil to prosper is for good men to do nothing. Well, we're going to do something. We're going to do something. We're not going to sit down. We're not going to shut up. Mind you, you work for us. We don't work for you. You're elected officials. I'm sorry, go ahead. My time is up? Okay, yes, sir. Your time's up soon, too, if you make this decision.
Next is Roger Little.
Wow, that was close. Good evening, everyone. First of all, I want to thank all the city council members for your time that you devote to the city. I know it's a thankless job, and everybody here understands that. Mayor too, you, Edie. It's Roger Little, 8500 Morgan Road, Blue Ridge, Texas. So thank you for your service. And Edie, good luck with you and Ricky on your retirement. I know it's 30 years, and Godspeed to what your next journey is. I think everybody here understands that what the ramifications will be of the city council and the vote to annex a property that's 10 miles away. All these people here have multi-generations that have lived here, 1, 2, 3, 4, some of them many over 100 years. But the city council, for some reason, is taking a stand to annex a property 10 miles away, 74 homes to 110. Nobody knows why you're doing this, but they could build 30 homes, put 6 people in those homes, and outvote every person that goes to the city council.
Yeah, that's correct.
And not if that happens, but when that happens.
Absolutely.
Because it is going to happen. And you folks have a chance to change history here. We think that, we live, I think every day that we live in a free country, and I thank God that we do live in a free country. And I know the old saying goes, nobody wanted to get involved in politics. And, Blue Ridge is just sort of dead. Nobody cares. Well, thank the Lord. I think a lot of people care here.
Amen.
And this isn't going to die down. It's only going to grow and grow and grow. There was an article published last night by Rare Foundation that has multiple violations from the city attorney. And I do know that's been sent down to Governor Abbott and also Dan Paxton for review. But I'm just asking to postpone everything for 60 days, get the new board in here, get new eyes looking on this, and get the community and support the community that has voted you all into office. Thank you.
All right. It's right, I got it.
Okay, next we have Janice Strapp.
Go get them, Janice. Hello, I'm Janice Strapp. I'll just do this. Can everybody hear me?
No.
Okay.
up, honey.
Okay. Okay, we'll try this.
There you go.
Okay, I'm Janice Strapp, 4563 FM 1377. I am a great granddaughter of the man that had farmed and spent his life on that land. My relatives have gone off to foreign lands to fight for my freedom to be here tonight to speak to you about saving that land. I couldn't look them in the face if I didn't show up tonight, and look my grandchildren in the face if I didn't fight this. The things that I wanted to address is about the annexation being posted in the Leonard paper. I didn't even know the Leonard paper had. I didn't even know there was a paper in Leonard, and I'm pretty sure nobody here gets the Leonard paper. So that was one thing. I did attend the November meeting where they were voting to approve the changing the zoning from agriculture to residential, and it was said single family residential, but yet we looked at the plans and there was apartments, there was a medical center, there was of course a mosque, a school, I mean, many things. When we ask about the numbers, it would go up every time they spoke, but yet we're supposed to trust their word on that. So everything has been, I mean, you look at their plans, there is a mosque, there's a shopping center. And then at the November meeting, when it came time to vote on passing that, it was like this. People stood up, everyone voted against it except for them who just plainly said, we want to build this. That was for everyone spoke up against it. It came up for a vote. One person said they wanted to table it. There was no second. And so it was said, okay, that dies. Then someone said, I want to pass it. And no one seconded. And they said, well, that it died. And then somebody said, well, what do we do? And someone says, well, I don't know. And someone else said, I guess I'll second it. All right. And I looked that up online, and the Roberts rules. Yeah. And it says that once something dies, that's it for that meeting.
Correct.
So that means that the zoning is invalid. So it's still agriculture, and like I said, they want residential, but there's business, there's lots. And as I can't look my family in the face without fighting for this, I can't see how you can look at the city of Blue Ridge and pass this knowing what the future is for us.
I have kids.
Randall Strapp. He's making his way in.
My name's Randall Strapp. I live at 4563 FM 1377, Princeton, Texas. I want you to know I've been boots on the ground over in Egypt. I have lived with these folks, okay? A sergeant that I cared about very dearly. He was already scared that someone was going to cut his throat in his sleep because of his religious background. And then one of them had approached the tent, and that was it for him. I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't have PTSD to this day from living, trying to sleep in a tent in the middle of the desert over there. That's a different bunch of people. Now they have a rich heritage. If I got to say some good stuff, they've got some good stuff about them. But bottom line is, the reason that guy followed me back up to the tent, because he wanted me to smoke pot with him in the car. And I was saying, no, I can't do this. I can't smoke hashish with you. I'm in the military. We were in the middle of the Army base. It was a taxi driver. I'm going to tell you that it's a travesty what Sergeant Lampron went through, maybe for the rest of his life, because he was deathly afraid they was going to cut his throat while he was asleep. So I got a lot of trouble for that. Water pressure. My water pressure is going down. I don't know if it's got anything to do with anything or not, but I know there's a whole lot more houses up north of me between the water tower and my house, getting less and less. I also request, if I may, a delay on the vote till after May 3rd. Because I think it would just be the right thing to do from the information I've been given. I may be a little ignorant, and I'm okay with that, but I'm going to just respectfully ask that y'all delay that vote. All right, well, thank you very much.
Next, we have Lexi Steele.
Speak loud. Hello, I'm Lexi Steele, and I declined to give my address. Thank you for letting me speak today. I am requesting you to hold off in hiring Mr. Stanley due to the City of Howell and what others have said tonight. He was hired in January and he was terminated in August. He had a 5-year contract and the city had to pay him $250,000 to leave. I'm asking you to please pause and look at other candidates. I know a lot of people in Blue Ridge and the surrounding cities who will take legal action if he is hired. Respectfully, please look at other candidates. I know I already said that. Thank you.
We have Krista Bates.
Hi, Krista Bates, FM 1377 Blue Ridge. My full address is on the paper. And good evening, and thank you for the opportunity to speak about a matter that affects more than those that live in Blue Ridge city limits. I do oppose the annexation of properties identified or affiliated as Muslim communities. I have a Blue Ridge address and live in an unincorporated area, but live closer to the properties in question than their proximity to the city limits. And while I oppose this, I want to be clear that it is not an attack on any of you that I feel such great opposition. And please know that my research on Islam and the Muslim culture began long before social media was a thing. I won't get into all of that, but just know I have done my fair share of research, and that is why I must stand here in opposition of this. And I plead with you to, at the very least, table any further decisions on these matters, and any for selecting new employees for future council members to conduct their own research into the matters at hand and help to make well-informed decisions that affect so many. Thank you.
There you go. We have Kent Bates.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Kent Bates, 6908 FM 1377, Blue Ridge, Texas. I live about 8 miles down the road here, and I'll be pretty close to this addition that I strictly oppose. I dang sure don't want any of my property annexed into the city of Blue Ridge, and I would be strictly against any condemnation of my property, provide any utilities or whatever for this addition. And little family history, my family name down there on the wall at Goliath. If any of you don't know what that's all about, it's
Yes, we
the
do.
Republic of Texas. I'm a native Texas.
Yeah.
Blue Ridge. And I want to thank any and every veteran that's here, because they put it all on the line for you to have this opportunity to say no, which can very easily go away. And my brother, who served in the United States Marine Corps, a former Marine, put it all on the line at one time. So I quite well know what it's all about. He very extensively studied this. He knows what it's all about. He shared some tales with me. Women, you don't understand what's going to happen to you. It will be very bad for you. I don't want to spread hate and discontent and all of that. I have been against it my entire life. Some of the best friends I got in this here world may be black. They may be white. They may be Mexican. Matters not to me. But I'm telling you, all these people do is when they study that Quran, and by the way, it might not be a bad idea for some of us to take that book up and read what it says so that we know the ways of our adversary. Like this one gentleman said earlier, Easter will be over for you. You won't have a chance to sit up here and vote on nothing. I can't vote in your city election. I can vote for the school board, and I always vote for our children. But I do own some property by blood, sweat, and tears, and the fact that my grandmother left it to me in a will. And the reason I say that, I may even have some of my hide hanging down there on the fence somewhere. But I'm telling you, I oppose this. I oppose any future annexation. It's not going to be good. And you come to 6908 looking for trouble, you have found it. Most of the time I get nothing. But you have a chance here. And I appreciate coming to Blue Ridge. I really like going over here to Cattleman's every now and again. But
Thank you.
Yeah.
Next, we have Dale Marksberry.
Yeah, I'm Dale Marksberry. I live at 11081 FM 2756, Princeton, Texas. Why I'm even up here talking about this is ridiculous. You're annexing land that is nowhere near Blue Ridge. Nowhere near it. If I wanted to live in Blue Ridge, I'd have bought land in Blue Ridge. I bought land in Climax, Texas.
Yeah.
And I don't agree with it. I mean, it's in my front yard across the road. You wouldn't want to live in that. I mean, I've got family buried at Van Winkle. These people don't want to be buried with you. You think if somebody don't want to be buried with you, they want to live with you and help you and protect you? Absolutely not. That's all I got to say.
Got Damon Cron.
Here he is.
I lost four.
How you doing? My name is Damon Cron. I live at 1105 Firefly Ridge, Blue Ridge. First people ask me, where were you on 9/11? I was half a mile from the Pentagon when the plane hit the Pentagon, and I watched it hit the Pentagon.
God bless you.
I was on leave from the military with friends. Within a few weeks, I was on the ground in Afghanistan. Okay. I've been to Afghanistan and I've been to Iraq. I sent 16 of my brothers home fighting against this over there so these people here didn't have to fight for it here.
Yeah.
This is you do not know what you're getting yourself into.
That's true.
I want any of you that think that you want this to go to Afghanistan and tell the Taliban who's in charge that you want to build a church right outside one of their villages. And then you come back in a year and tell me how that worked out for you. None of you are going to come back. I promise you. These people are evil. I am against this. You should all be against this. You need to protect your family. Shame on any of you that are for this.
We have Jaquita Morris.
My name's Jaquita Morris. I live here in Blue Ridge at 320 South Main Street. Most people tell me I don't need a microphone, so I hope y'all can all hear me.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm here to say that I totally oppose having any type business or transactions with these Muslims that what they call Epic City. That will be a nightmare if that gets annexed in. I pray to God every day. I've been praying for a long time that these people would just go away, because anybody that wants these people to be annexed into Blue Ridge needs to go home and dust their Bible off and read it.
Absolutely.
Because these people are pure evil. They believe in hate and violence. And they hate Americans. They hate the Jewish people. Right now, for over 3 months right now, there are people being beheaded because they profess to be a Christian. They are beheading children, women. It's not just soldiers. So the best thing you can do is to go home and pray, because God has it if you'll just hand it over to him. Well, I hope y'all all have a good night. Thank you very much.
Okay, now we have Travis Petty.
My name is Travis Petty. I live at 3119 Blue Point Circle, Blue Ridge, Texas. I agree with all of the sentiments that have been expressed here tonight. I also want to point out 2 clear things and ask some questions of the proposed development. Seeing as that it's an Islamic-oriented entity, much like the Epic City, which starts with a corporation that you can invest in. As a Christian, am I going to be allowed to invest in this corporation? Probably not. As a Christian, will I be able to buy a lot in this development after it's been got off the ground? Probably not. Will I be able to buy a house in there if it's already been built? Probably not. Second is the intermixing of if it's run like Epic City is, managed and anticipated to manage a for-profit entity, controlled or beneficiary as a nonprofit inside the nonprofit. Epic East Plano Islamic Center, it's expressed you must be a Sunni Muslim to be a member of their church or their mosque. Am I going to be allowed to do that? No, of course not. And nonprofit owned by for-profit, the whole thing is just a big, huge mess. So I would move that you table all discussion until you can really look at it from all angles and with an absolute clear conscience. Thank you.
Cindy Long.
Good evening. Thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight. I want to just second what everybody, Cindy Long, County Road 630, Blue Ridge, Texas. I want to second what everybody has said tonight. I have served the community here. I've been on the Water Board of Frog Knot. I've been on the Community Development Board. I'm a McCarley. I'm one of the longest standing families here. And I want to oppose bringing in a new city administrator until we have our new election in May. Everybody's right. You all are going to be coming off in a couple of months. And these issues are huge that the council is going to have to take going forward. We need to leave this in their hands. It's not fair to dump this in the hands of the council that's going off and dump this in the people coming on. They need to be part of this decision. This needs to be reevaluated. We need to let Governor Abbott be involved. Keith Self is looking at this. Ken Paxton. Please let them help you all with these big decisions. This Islamic group coming in here, they're not our friends. Look at October 7th, what happened. When you look at them burning babies, putting guns up private parts of children and pulling the trigger, setting people on fire. These people are coming here to take over. They're not coming here as a peace-loving group. They have no place in our community, and we must stop this. Table this tonight, wait till the new council comes on, and get our government, state government involved in your decisions. Thank you.
Dorinda Powell.
Good evening, Dorinda Powell, Princeton, Texas. Thank you for this time tonight. I have a motto, and it says, I go by, pray up, stand up, and speak up. Muslim belief is against the Constitution, America, and a threat to our country. According to Islamic teachings, Americans, that's us, are infidels, and we need to be eliminated. We all need to be informed on the Quran teaching to understand the devastation of these teachings. In hearing a Muslim leader say our country will allow them to do what they want to, and it's nothing we can do, that's why we're here tonight. America must not be taken, might not be taken by gun or army, but from within by taking over the politics and buying out our farmland to develop a private compound to do what they want to without constitutional laws and values that honor America and Christian values. America was founded on this. These beliefs do not honor the oath of allegiance to become a citizen. Oh, everyone should read that. Look up your oath to allegiance to become a citizen. Amazing. We're here because we're off the couch. Get the blinders off and getting involved in our community and country. I ask that you don't allow this community and development to happen. Thank you.
Deborah Goodman.
Hello, I'm Deborah Goodman. I'm from Irving, Texas, and I come out here to stand with the people of Blue Ridge. I'm a lifelong Texan. And I have something I want people to entertain is that the question is, why are they choosing Blue Ridge? You know, if they're annexing areas of out of town or inside the town, then their plan is probably to take over Blue Ridge. Okay, it starts with just a little bit. You outnumber the people, you outvote them, and you take over the town just like they did at Dearborn. So and it started also with people that were willing to allow it to happen, people that were in charge of the city, politicians that had something to gain. So the people here, need to stand up, and we're going to fight with everybody that's here. Another question is, where are the people coming from that are going to be going in these houses? Are they illegals that come across our border? Are they people that are already here that we don't know anything about? What kind of jobs are they going to have? When they come in and they take over and they start their own facilities, then they take over your property taxes, they take over school taxes, and they end up using our taxes to fund themselves. Their belief is that we Westerners, and we owe them a living. You can look at England, and you can say that 70% of the Muslim people that are in London right now are on welfare. So are we supposed to provide for the people that are coming here? So those are things that you need to look at. It looks like that everybody that here has a reason to stand up because they plan on taking over your job in your city. So we have a lot of patriots, and we plan on standing up and fighting with you guys for whatever it takes to make sure that we keep them out. Muslims do not have the best interest of the people in this community. And they're, it's in your best interest. They discriminate against you by building a city or building a place where you're not allowed to go. You can look at examples. You can look at Dearborn, where one of the people went to a park in Dearborn and took a dog and they ran him out of town. You can look at Dallas, Texas, where there was a protest. I went down there and they didn't know I was actually against them and listened to them. And you had people that were threatening or telling the mayor that he needed to resign because they passed a resolution for Israel. So and you can look all over our cities, all over the United States right now, where they went into the schools and they forced our American Jewish people to not be able to go to class. They locked the doors. They fought, they hit them, they beat them. So these are people that are coming from another country that are sitting there taking over and threatening our citizens, whether they're Jewish. So they don't have your best interest at heart. In that city will only be Muslims. There won't be Christians, there won't be Hindus, and we don't even know what's going on in the city. We don't know if they're going to be having people that are going to be training to commit jihad against us, because they do not have good plans for us in mind. So when you're looking at discrimination and you're looking at what's going on, they're discriminating against you just by even building a cemetery to say that you're not allowed to be buried there. That's not assimilating in our society. That's saying we want our own place in the United States. Okay, thank you very much.
Then have a Lynn DeVoy. Last name is Devole or ID. First name's Lynn. Okay, I'll get your background. Ashley Fisher.
Hi there, my name is Ashley Fisher. I'm a resident of Climax, Texas. I don't feel comfortable giving my address because I am within that 200 feet of this development. I oppose the rezoning and annexation of these properties off 1377 and 2756. First, there shouldn't be any community allowed to self-segregate within another community, no matter race, color, religion, sex, or national origin. Segregation ended in the United States in 1954, Brown v. Board of Education in 1964, the Civil Rights Act of 1964. Why would we elect to go back in time? This proposed self-segregated community is in fact discriminatory and sending us backwards in time. Webster's dictionary defines discrimination as the following: prejudice, a prejudicial outlook, action or treatment, the act, practice, or instance of discrimination categorically rather than individually. These religiously governed neighborhoods for a specific race and or religion sound discriminatory towards me and the neighboring communities. Next, the process and proceedings leading up today I find questionable. Most annexations require impact studies prior to annexing properties. However, this process is the opposite. The properties are being annexed without any impact studies. Has anyone done a deep study into infrastructure? Which brings the question, Why aren't these properties being annexed into Princeton, especially when one of them is closer to Princeton, 10 miles from Blue Ridge to be exact? I know because it's 200 feet to my left. Could it be due to Princeton's current infrastructure problems? Isn't it true that they went there first and were turned down? What are the benefits of being annexed 10 miles out of the city limits that you are requesting annexation? There is talk about this being an economic boost, but how will there be when there are no taxes due to the religious exemption? What about the stress this will put on the emergency services? From zoning approvals without plats, to annexations without impact studies, to legal attempts to strip out state mandated protections like the anti-BDS laws, every step reflects a coordinated effort to impose a religiously governed neighborhood under the guise of inclusive suburban development. There has been a disposition to bending rules, suppressing public opinion, and prioritizing developers over citizen concerns within this council. I hope that some of this has been for lack of knowledge. You quite literally have the future of hundreds of citizens in your hands. I'm pleading with this council to stop this disposition now and to say no against the annexation of these properties. Let's look for a more prosperous and inclusive future. In conclusion, I leave my neighbors and family with this verse. Do not be anxious about anything, but in everything by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known to God. Philippians 4:6. Thank you and God bless.
So before I move to the last page, is Linda Boyd here? We're not. Okay, we have Dale Mott.
Dale Mott, I'm from Princeton. I'm not going to give my actual street. So I just want to thank everybody who came out. I'm so thrilled and proud to see everybody here. And the young people too, keep bringing them, keep coming. Bring somebody next time. Bring 10 more with you next time. Amen. So my concern is, I've heard people list actual legal precedent which has been broken by you guys here. Thanks for allowing us to come in. But so you didn't follow process and procedure. We want the rule of law here to be fulfilled. It would be in everyone's best interest if you would just at this point cancel this whole project. Do not delay it for 2 months, cancel it. You had no legal standing to actually agree to it. You didn't go through the proper procedures from all that I've heard. So it is an illegal move on your part to sign these papers. So anyway, is anybody, this other woman just referred to Dearborn, Michigan. It was a community. I used to live in Michigan. So in Michigan, there was this nice little community outside of Detroit, and it was Hamtramck. It was a settlement, a lot of different cultures. People would come and settle there from other countries, and it'd be filled with people like just different. It'd be taken over. First, maybe Greek, then it was Polish, and it was different things. People would come, they'd come in cluster, and then they'd spread out into the world and become acclimated. So people were used to that happening. So when the Muslims started coming in, they're open. People were open. Come on in, like everybody. We want everyone to come in and make a home here. But is that what they did? No. They made their little community like they want to do right here, right now. They made their own laws. The police, we don't have to worry about hiring police because they don't let them in. The police are not allowed. There are no-go zones. The fire department, police department won't even go there because their lives are in jeopardy. I just look at this and I just keep thinking about, It's a Wonderful Life and Potterville. Anybody see the movie? It's a Wonderful Life. Do you want Potterville? Because we got the choice here. Is it going to be Potterville in our whole nation? Is it going to be Potterville, USA, the whole place? Because the Muslims, I think it was like in the 80s or something, they had a 100-year plan to take over the world. We're living it. We're seeing it. We can't just today say, well, we don't want to be judgy. We don't want to, anybody, we don't want to we don't want to be like that, one of those races. No, it's not that. They're taking advantage of that. They're taking advantage of our good nature and our goodwill and our love for our brothers and sisters. And they're coming in with a whole different intent. The intent is to overtake and to run us out. They hate us. They hate the people of God. They hate the people that love the Lord. We are their enemies. They're sworn enemies. Thank you very much. Let's
We have Beverly Black.
Hello, my name is Beverly Black at 8550 Private Road. Basically, all I'm saying is I did know everything everybody else has said. That I've only been in Blue Ridge a few years, but when my research started, I was appalled. I could go to the website, the city council. There's no names. There's no way to contact them. Are you guys ghosts? Do you just do this part-time? Or, I mean, I don't understand. And you've heard from these people. They've been here for years. Why would you do this to them? That's the part I do not understand. Unless you just really do not like Blue Ridge. Are you moving out? I mean, you're going to leave us all with a mess? I mean, it's already been proven. This is the work of the devil. And you are enabling him. You're spreading the wealth for the devil. So I'm opposing. I hope that you change your mind and that you wait until the new city council's in and you go back and do your due diligence and do your homework. I can't even have electricity for a solid week without it going out. So how are you going to give them electricity? My water pressure's gone down. How are you going to give them water? You're going to take it away from me, so now I won't even be able to check back? Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of issues in this town without bringing outsiders in. There's not wrong with bringing outsiders in if they're willing to be part of the community. But these people are not. I have dear friends who are Muslims. They pray every day that this does not happen. This is the reason they came to America, is to get away from the killing and the slaughtering. So why do you want to bring it here? I don't know. I just don't understand it. And I hope you change your mind. Thank you.
So it was Stephanie or Stephen Lee? So, okay, Stephen.
So good evening, I'm Stephen Leake, 9100 North Highway 78. As you can probably tell already, it's not a Texas accent. What's been said before, I agree with everything. This should be definitely canceled. I always live by a good saying that I think when you annexed that property, and hopefully the piece I heard said that's not really legal, you made a mistake. But the person that made a mistake never made anything. Just don't compound the mistake. And it's really true. My wife and I have been here 20 years. And when we came to Texas, well, we actually started in Savannah. We got to Texas as fast as we could. We didn't want to change anything American. It took us 4.5 years to get our visas and to get here. We didn't cross a border illegally. But the thing that really upsets me is when people immigrate to this country and want to make it the one they just came from. Why? Why? So please reconsider this. I won't waste any more time. Everything that's been said, I agree with. And I'm sure when you took these jobs, you never anticipated something this big landing in your laps. it's probably more, if somebody wants to put an addition on the house. Well, I understand the position you're in, believe me. But, anyway, please think about just tabling this and moving on. Thank you.
Thank you.
Name's Joe Meir, 1172 County Road 630. I vehemently oppose the community and annexing the community into Blue Ridge. I don't understand how anybody could be for this. I'd like to hear from the city council on why they thought this would benefit anyone in Blue Ridge. That's all I got.
Thank you.
I have A.G. Reagan. A.G. or S, I'm not sure. Reagan. 536 West FM 545, in case I got the name wrong. So you're not here. That's all I want. That's it. That's everybody on the list. This has to be spoken to. Yes, so thank you all for your comments. The council will take care of all your comments into consideration as we move forward in all the items on our agenda. And again, thank you for coming out. I know it's been a long night. We do appreciate you, appreciate your input.
I have a packet for the mayor.
Yeah. We haven't gone into the farm. We haven't stopped you. Most of us.
Okay, I'll make sure they get it. Only, I want to see it go to the mayor right now. Okay.
Good job. Sorry, I was tired. All right, thank you.
I have a question directed at Councilman Apple. It's alleged that you are the surveyor for the Muslim LLC developers. Is that correct? Have you in any way, shape or form put your professional acumen in connection with them? You did survey for them when they first bought the property. Were you paid for that? They got another engineer, but you are saying that you did survey the development. Were you paid for that? Do you not see that as a conflict of interest?
But I have had no other contact.
So were you aware of who they were, or did you just survey the land, or were you connected with them at the time you surveyed the land and knew that they were purchasing it? But specifically with Katan or Faisal or Hanan, you had no idea who these people were when you were doing a survey for them. Okay, thank you for answering the question.
Got it all record. Interesting. Yes, I have lots of papers here. So we're going to go into item number 4, items of community interest. Mayor and City Council may report on items of community interest, including expressions of thanks, congratulations, condolences, information regarding holiday schedules, recognition of individuals, reminders about upcoming city events, information about community events and announcements involving an imminent threat to public health and safety. No action will be taken on any of the community interest. The Blue Ridge Community Development Corporation will be hosting, as spoken earlier, their annual Easter egg hunt on April 13th, 2025 at Brasher Park. The regular scheduled council meeting for May 6, 2025 will be held as a special session on May 13th due to the canvassing of the May 3rd elections. Then it's also let you know that there will be Collin County is hosting a thoroughfare meeting on Thursday, April 3rd from 5:30 to 7:30 at the Lavon City Hall. You would probably all be very interested to go to that. Myself and Councilman Tammy Crosswhite went a couple of weeks ago to Anna, and it talked about the thoroughfare that's coming through the outskirts through all of our areas and things like that, and how they're proposing the different the lanes and stuff like that. So it's very informative. I encourage you all to go and be educated on that as well as we were. So, now we will actually move to item number 11. I'm sorry, we're having to kind of move around here. Consider, discuss, and act upon the 2023-2024 fiscal year audit as presented by Freight Conroe with Foxburg Company.
I'm Josephine. Good to see you. You just finished ours.
Yes, I did. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the council. Thank you for having me. I'm here to deliver your audit report on your fiscal year end 9/30/2024 financial statements. I will be brief. On pages 6 through 8 of the report that you've been given, that is the opinion. That is the only part that belongs to me. The rest of the financial statements belong to the city. I'm happy to say that the opinion on the financial statements is unmodified. By unmodified, that essentially means that it's other than qualified. In layman's terms, it essentially states that those who are looking at the financial statements can rely on them to be free of material misstatement. Emphasis on material there. It's not an assertion or an assurance that there are no misstatements within the financial statements. It's essentially saying that if there were any misstatements, they would be minute enough that they would not influence or change the opinion of the readers, but conclusions on your financial condition or results of your operations. There's a couple of things that I'm required to disclose. The most significant estimates and most significant disclosures within your financial statements. Coincidentally, I believe they're both related. The financial statements have many estimates embedded in them. For example, the estimate of your pension liability and your other post-employment benefit liability. Depreciation on fixed assets is an estimate. Accruals for things like unpaid leave is an estimate. But the most significant estimate, I believe, is the one related to the pension liability. If you were to look on page 44 of the report, there's a summary at the bottom of that that essentially shows the impact on your pension liability or asset. As a matter of fact, the city of Blue Ridge has a pension liability. In other words, your pension is overfunded. That's based on the assumption that you're returning 6.7% on the monies invested for the benefit of the employees. The disclosure at the bottom of page 44 shows the impact on if that assumption was increased or decreased by 1%. If the return were to increase by 1%, your pension asset would improve from 53,000 to about 98,000. Conversely, if it were to decline by 1%, the pension asset would swing to a liability, although the minute one would have been $4,500. The reason I come to the conclusion that this is the most significant estimate is because there are so many variables that come into play in developing what that estimate is, some of which you have control over, some of which you do not. I kind of touched on the return on investments. You don't really have any control over that. That's kind of the bailiwick of Texas Municipal Retirement System. The things you do control are the rates of pay for your employees, the amount of contribution that you make to cover their pension over the years. Um, and so, like I say, you have a couple of things you do control. You have some other things you don't control. Estimated life expectancy, pretty much out of all our controls. But that influences the calculation on how much your liability may very well be. There's also a table in the exhibit B1 on page 57. I think it's multiple pages, but on page 57, there's a recap of your history over 10 years' time on what your pension funding looks like. When you look at that, you can see the history of the pension here in Blue Ridge has been greater than 100% funded pretty much every year for the past 10 years, which is a really good sign. Another thing that I need to cover is a relatively short letter that we're required to deliver. We refer to it as the governance letter. Auditing standards requiring that we communicate to those charged with governance certain things relative to the audit. I touched on a couple of those things already when speaking about the estimates. We're required to maintain independence from the city, our client, and we have complied with doing that. We performed the audit consistent with the plan, scope, and timing that was covered in our engagement letter. Happy to say we did not have any significant difficulties in dealing with management. You may or may not recall when I was out here last year delivering the report, we had done a lot of the work remotely. We had come to the conclusion that that was not a very efficient approach, and so we changed our approach, and we brought some staff out here in person for a couple of days to do a lot of the work, and that I think that made for a lot smoother process. I'm required to tell you whether or not I'm aware of any what's called opinion shopping, where if management believes they're not happy with how we tell them an accounting principle should be applied, they may approach another accounting firm to see if they can't get a better result. As far as I know, none of that's been going on. Uncorrected and corrected misstatements, there's always adjustments that are made to the financial statements, especially in a community like this where the staff is relatively limited. I don't perceive that sort of thing to be a red flag. It's just a normal type of thing that's done in the process of doing an audit. To give you an example, I mentioned the GASB 68 pension liability and the GASB 75 other pension employee benefit liability. It's really unreasonable to expect a city staff of this size to have any real interest in adjusting that on an annual basis. It's only necessary for compliance with generally accepted accounting standards, and you only do it once a year. Essentially, I could bore you with a lot of terms, deferred inflows and deferred outflows. How many people here know what those are? Right? So, things like your depreciation schedule, that's not necessarily maintained on an annual basis or on a monthly or whatever weekly basis. It's one of those things that gets adjusted at the end of the year. Accruals for unpaid sick leave, stuff like that. There are occasions where we discover that there were some errors in the bank reconciliations that have to be corrected. But the bottom line is all those adjustments are summarized in the schedule that was included with the letter that was provided to you. I didn't have any other significant matters or findings. And based on that, I will open the floor to the council for questions about the report.
Anyone have questions for Mr. Clemore? No questions? Thank you, sir.
Thank you for your time. I appreciate the opportunity to serve the city.
Thank you. We will consider discussing act upon the 2023-2024 fiscal audit is presented by Mr. Connell. Oxford Company. Oh, it's okay. I'll entertain a motion. Let's go through that.
Motion to accept number 11.
Okay. David's motion. Do I have a second? Thank you. Six. All in favor? Okay, here it goes. Thank you. So we're gonna go back up here now, number 5. Consent agenda. All matters listed under the consent agenda item and agenda discussion, possible action are considered routine by the city council and require little or no deliberation. There will not be a separate discussion of these items, and the consent agenda items will be enacted by one vote. If a council member expresses a desire to discuss a matter listed on the consent agenda, the item will be considered separately. A, discuss, approve, or disapprove the minutes from special session held March 10th, 2025, and special session held March 20th, 2025. B, public works update. C, city financial report. D, fire department report. E, animal control report. F, new permit report. And G, write-offs for utility billing. I will let you know that we did not receive a fire department report, nor did we receive an animal control report from those departments. Any discussion regarding those items? Questions?
I told them that. I brought that up, but I wanted to bring it up before everybody for the question about the money over the budget for the. No, I'm afraid it's too many.
Girl, all sorts of papers from here.
It's in the general fund under the wages, 5379. 5370 payroll expense. This shows we're over the budget by 260,000. And I was told that it's because some adjustments had not been made. Is that correct? General entries, and those are normally made when?
Typically once a month.
Once a month, okay.
I feel very well.
Okay. So this should have been moved somewhere else, basically.
And if
This should not be over this shouldn't be over the budget.
But if you'll also notice what is on the actual budget amount.
Right. Well.
So there's an adjustment that needs to be made with our auditor.
Okay.
So that was a discussion that we needed to have. And that will need to be taken care of from my successor.
Okay.
And there's.
So is that one entry that you can
It
take
can
care of
be.
that, or is that each? Is that
It can be.
individual entry for each pay period?
It can be either way. So that's why that needs to be a discussion with our auditor.
Okay. And how soon can we anticipate that?
Well, tonight is my last night, so. That is something for my successor.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Any other questions, items? Okay. I'll entertain a motion. Item number 5.
I'll second.
Dave, all in favor? Tammy, okay.
A bunch of the minutes were missing.
I'm sorry?
On March 10th, there were a whole bunch of things missing off the minutes. A lot of the people who spoke here on March 10th aren't even on record as speaking.
Do we have that updated minutes or?
If you go back through the
information?
videos, you can see who spoke, but they're not even in the minutes.
Okay, we'll make that adjustment and get that back on the next council. I'm sorry, thank you.
You'll need to have a change of your motion.
Okay.
Because that motion was made for all items in the consent agenda. You'll need to revoke that motion and then redo that, please.
Okay. So, who made the motion first?
He did.
Okay, so we're gonna revoke the motion. Dave's gonna revoke the motion. So we will go back to that, discuss, approve, disapprove the minutes for special session, March 10th, but that's gonna be corrected. So we'll revoke that in special session held on March 20th, 2025. and then the other items listed as well. Public Works update, city financial, fire department that's not here, animal control, we don't have, new permit report, and write-offs for utility billing. So I'll entertain a motion for those items other than the March 10th, 2025.
I have a question, if you don't mind me asking. If this gentleman here is not an employee or part of the council as of right now, why isn't he sitting out here with the rest of the citizens instead of standing up there as he's part of this council if you haven't voted him as part of the city manager or secretary yet? Why is he still standing right there like he's part of y'all's team, but you haven't actually voted him to be that yet? I'm just curious about that. If I quit over there, he's going to sit down. So why is he getting to stand right there?
And I urge you to read the file that I gave you.
Okay, I will take care
Well,
of that.
I'm just curious why he's getting to stay standing right there and not sitting back here with the rest of the citizens.
Okay. Duly noted. Thank you for letting us know. I mean, I can only assume, I'm speaking for myself, that the gentleman sitting over here, so you all people will know exactly who he is as the person that's applied for the position, whose name is on the agenda. So people aren't sitting around saying, who's he, where's he at, where's he at? He's in physical view for everybody out here to see. There hasn't been anything done as regards to this position yet. So you still need to pay him respect as well as everyone else in this room. Okay, and I'm just telling you so.
Okay, I just asked.
But there's nothing centering him out other than to let you all know exactly who the gentleman is. As we all, when the people came up to speak, everyone was
I
brought
didn't
up.
hear you introduce him. I didn't know who he was.
Okay.
Until other people pointed. I didn't hear you introduce him. This is the
Thank you.
man we're considering.
Great point.
So we're back to the motion again, minus the March 10th minutes on item number 5.
I'll make a motion to accept number 5. Minus the March 10th
Meeting.
minutes.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, so I've got Keith this time. All in favor? Okay. Okay. Item number 6, consider, discuss, and act upon appointing Gerald Young to the Blue Ridge Community Development Corporation. And I believe that Tanya Harrison is going to speak on that, on behalf of that. I'm sorry.
I already spoke on it earlier.
Well, I know, but you know, that was in a different position right there. So I'm giving you the opportunity
Let
once
me get
again.
my notes out here so I
Okay.
don't mess up this time. Hold on.
Oh, Lord.
Okay, so you're tying our hands behind our backs every time you appoint someone to the board. The last person that y'all appointed, I don't mean that. Thank you. The last person that y'all appointed, out of 11 meetings, she's only attended 2 and showed up for 1 of our events. We've had to cancel 4 of our meetings due to no quorum because of it. One of us had the flu and one of us had surgery last month, and she never responded. I do know that the city secretary does send the agenda, and I do know that our board president does text each one of us individually so that she doesn't create a walking quorum, to let us know when the meetings are and to remind us that, hey, your meeting's Monday at 3. So we are trying to finish our building over here. I know a lot of y'all have seen our building. It's going to be the resource center, the Blue Ridge Resource Center. We're trying to get it done. We need to get our certificate of occupancy. We need to get our final inspections done, and we can't do that until we have the meeting. So we can go over some things. We're having to buy fire extinguishers, all kinds of little things we need to do. So in my opinion, we would like for y'all to stop appointing people to our board and maybe have them come sit at our board, come to one of our meetings, come see what we do. Because when you tell them that they have to be present on a Saturday or Sunday, they never show back up. They don't. And then we're stuck like this. We had 5 people, only 3 of us had to be there to have a quorum. We recorded, one of us would video in if we were sick or something so that we could continue on. After the COVID protocol was lifted, we could no longer do that. So now we have 6 people on our board, which means that we have to have a minimum of 4. When you add this other person, which would be 7 people, that means we were gonna have to have a minimum of 5, and we can't function like that unless we get people that truly want to be there.
So I got a question.
I have something that goes with that because Gerald Young just texted me. I will tell you what he said. I had to leave the meeting. It was just too hot in the building. I do agree with Tanya Harrison about seeing what I will be getting myself into. That being said, I will go visit the 4B group on Monday at 3. At this time, I do not want to be voted on, so I can do my research. Thank you, Gerald Young.
Good job.
Yes, sir.
Number one is, how many people do you have on your board that live in the city limits?
I think there's one that lives inside the city limits. I'm not really sure where everybody lives. Why?
Because it means you're not in compliance.
No, sir.
So they haven't had meetings.
No, the 4B board, they do not have to live inside the city limits. We have different bylaws than the EDC does.
Is that correct, Edie?
That is correct. There is, I don't have it in front of me, I'm sorry, but.
We have different bylaws than the EDC does. They did that specifically because they could not get anybody inside this city to participate in anything. So we are in the ETJ. All of us were in the ETJ except for the one person. Yes, sir.
So if somebody's on the council and they don't show up for, what is it, 3 meetings, Edie, or 2? 3 meetings, we can pull them off the board.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys have that in your bylaw?
Yes, we do.
So why haven't you pulled that person off?
Why have we not pulled her off? Because we didn't appoint her. Y'all did. She wasn't voted onto our board.
You can still pull her off, can't she? You gotta check, look at your bylaws and see.
Okay.
And then if it's not in your bylaws for you to do it, go to council, hey, we want to close it off.
Okay. Do you remember
Call
what
and
you
have it on the agenda.
I had to go back through all of the minutes to see. But I want to say what y'all did was y'all appointed her at the council meeting, and then she showed up at our meeting. We didn't know who she was. And then we started talking to her. And then the next meeting, we went through all the proper channels to put her on our board. I want to say it was in April or May of last year. We don't have a meeting in December, ever. And I went back through the minutes to find her name where she first showed up. But that would be in your council minutes too.
Okay, we'll research that. So with that being said, act upon the appointment of Gerald Young, he's already said he doesn't want to be considered on that board. So
Number 6.
will there just be no motion? No action. Okay, so no action on item number 6. Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
How many people would you like on that board? Or how many people do you need?
Our bylaws say 7, but we need people that are actually going to show up. That's why we go and we talk to people and we try to get them to come on, and it is what it is. So
everyone here, yeah. So, okay, so
but you have to work Saturday and Sunday. Don't say you're gonna show up and then not show up.
so we'll pull item number 6. No action. I'm sorry. It's been a long time.
I think I'm next.
Yeah. Yes, you are. Sorry. Item number 7. Consider, discuss, and act upon closing south side of the square for the annual Easter egg hunt hosted by the Blue Ridge Community Development Corporation on April 13th, 2025. Now, Tanya, would like to speak on that?
Yes, ma'am. I'm going to request again that the south side of the square be closed for our Easter deal. It will be mostly over here at the park. It's the same thing we did last year for the first time. This is our second annual. I am also going to ask that the city waive the $50 fee that you charge for shutting down the square. And can we please get 4 additional trash cans? That worked out really good for the Harvest Festival.
Okay.
Make a motion for 7. Give them 4 trash cans and waive the fee.
Okay, and close off the south side of the square. Okay. Okay, Keith and Tammy, all in favor? Okay.
Thank y'all.
You're welcome.
Yes, somewhere in there.
All my babies sitting over there.
So, item number, we've already done, okay. Amy, how would you like to do the next section here?
Go ahead and go with number 9.
Okay. All right, so we'll skip number 8 at this moment. We're gonna go to number 9. Receive, consider, and discuss a presentation from Nick Balaji in Hilltop, providing an overview of the Blue Ridge Crossing Development Public Improvement District, PID, and the development agreement. There you are. You're good. You're good.
That's the most important. Number 8.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Nick Blush with Hilltop Securities, the city's financial advisor. There's no action on number 9. This is a presentation before action on number 10. But I'm here to go over and kind of review the Blue Ridge Crossing Public Improvement District. This is the development that's just on the other side of the ball fields. That's the infrastructure is pretty much all the way in. Before I start, a colleague of mine, Stephen Murray, is here, and then Amy Schulte from P3 Works is here, and then I know the developers representative, Ryan Hafner, is also here. But just quickly, a quick review, and I'm looking at slide or page 3. Just a little bit of history. This development agreement was approved in March of 2022. The developer proposed to annex into the city limits in exchange for a public improvement district, a PID. And what a PID does is it helps reimburse the developer for infrastructure costs that they're putting in. In addition to the direct costs of this development, the developer in the development agreement also said that they agreed that they would do certain improvements to Pruitt Street and sewer improvements, which Pruitt Street is to be done, but I believe the sewer improvements have been completed. And then the city would be the water sewer utility provider to the district. Turning to slide 4, just an overview of the Blue Ridge Crossing development. There's about $10.5 million of infrastructure that the developer is putting into the ground. That's 7.6 million of public infrastructure, 2.8 million of private. And it's estimated that about 4.7 million of that would be reimbursed via this public improvement district. And I'll get into what a public improvement district is here in a minute. 212 lot development, 43 1,300 square foot homes, 169 1,400 square foot homes. The average home price between the two is about $330,000 and $355,000. At build out, it's based on those home prices, it's about $74 million of taxable tax value. So if you think of the city's current tax rate multiplied by that build out, that would be additional tax revenues of about $392,000 annually that the city would receive from the future residents within that public improvement district. Slide 5, what is a public improvement district overview? Defined area created by the city council, and this is this public improvement district has already been created. It's used to promote a higher quality or special public improvements, and it basically targets the repayment of that infrastructure through this PID. So the folks that live in the PID will pay for those benefits. So it does not encumber, or does not, anybody outside of the PID does not have to pay any sort of a PID fee, only those future residents within the PID. You levy an assessment on the lot, and a capital assessment or a maintenance assessment. In this situation, it'll be a capital assessment. And it is included on the property tax bill. So whenever the future residents within that PID receive their tax bill, they'll have city, county, college, school district, public improvement district as a part of their property tax bill. Unlike property taxes, though, the PID assessment can be prepaid. So if a future homeowner moves in and they say, you know what, I want to prepay my PID assessment in full, they can prepay it and they won't be assessed that assessment going any further. It's subordinate to governmental taxes, but it comes before private financing, just as a home mortgage. So for example, if the future homeowners decided not to pay or elected not to pay, and you had to foreclose on the home, the governmental taxes, county, school, city would be paid first, then the PID assessment would be paid, and then the mortgage company would be paid out of those foreclosure proceedings. It funds water, sewer, drainage, roads, basically the public infrastructure within that public improvement district. So the city creates the PID, levies the assessments on the property, issues debt, and that's what we'll talk to here in the next step. Collects cash assessments to pay the bondholders and forecloses on the property in the event of a non-payment. And I've already mentioned that the PID assessments are collected on the ad valorem property tax bill, and there's no other financial cost or liability to the city outside of those PID residents. The PID special and limited tax debt does not pledge or encumber any city fund or assets. So it says in bold, all caps, not payable from taxes, water sewer fees, fund balances, anything else. It's solely paid from the assessments placed on those homes. So the effectively where we are right now in terms of the PID projections, the PID will be sold as a 30-year level debt service transactions, and the debt service would be like a home mortgage style level annual payments all in. The estimated par amount is about $5.8 million. The estimated value to lien ratio is 2.36 to 1. What that means is the value of the improved lot by virtue of an appraisal says that the lot value is worth 2.3 times the amount of debt. Now, the developer has put in the infrastructure. They're waiting to dedicate that infrastructure over to the city. So this is the next step in the process is the preliminary service and assessment plan public hearing, and then selling the bonds at the next council meeting. So after they dedicate the infrastructure, they're going to start building vertical value. So that value to lien will be much better than it is now. That's just based off an appraisal of the improved lot. The annual payments are about $482,000. And that includes, and that's in total, that includes the annual administrative expense that for the administration of the PID, which is done by P3 Works, the PID administrator. So all that to say is the PID is effectively self-sufficient. It's not, the city will not be using any of its general fund money to administer the PID. It's all paid again by those future homeowners. It's irredeemable in event of assessment prepayment, and the bonds are sold only to accredited investors, meaning that qualified institutional buyers are I guess big boy investors. It's sold in $25,000 denominations. And this results in a 65-cent tax rate equivalent. And what I mean by that is, if you look on the next page, the tax stack, what we do whenever we figure a tax rate equivalent is we take the PID assessment, we divide it by the home value to come up with a quote tax rate. It's not a tax, it's an assessment that'll stay flat for the life of the bonds, but we like to see what it looks like if you were to convert it to a tax rate. So if you look at this slide, this will show what those future homeowners would pay. So you have by the type of home, you have a 13 square foot home, a 1,400 square foot home at $330,000 or $355,000. You see the City of Blue Ridge taxes, Blue Ridge ISD, Collin College, Collin County, So the overlapping tax rate is $2.01 for anybody who lives in the city of Blue Ridge. That's the overlapping tax rate we pay. Then the Blue Ridge Crossing pit will have an additional 65-cent, again, tax rate equivalent assessment. As home values go up, because the assessment stays flat, that tax rate equivalent will decline because it's just the assessment level divided by the value. So just want to point that out. That does not change like a tax. So the total tax rate equivalent over all properties is $2.66. The development agreement that was signed in 2022 was silent on the PID tax rate. So there was some negotiation going on with LGI Homes, who is a developer. Of course, they wanted a higher PID assessment, but we came to an agreement at the 65-cent level. It's not what they wanted, but it's what they could live with. And then finally, in the last slide, just kind of the next steps. So the PID has already been created, months of March and April. We're finalizing the bond offering documents, investor sites, visit if necessary. April 1st is here we are. It's the preliminary service and assessment plan presented to council. That is the next agenda item. And then May 13th is when we're looking to price the bonds and finalize the interest rate. That preliminary service and assessment plan will become the final service and assessment plan with the final numbers. If interest rates are worse than what we're assuming right now, then we'll sell less bonds. If it's a little bit better, then we'll sell a little bit more bonds. But the target is the 65-cent tax rate equivalent is where we're coming back to the council on May 13th. Then it takes about 30 days to close. The transcript is sent to the Texas Attorney General for their sign off and approval. And then so the bond closing is anticipated to occur on June 5th. That's when, so let me also explain, the money is not just handed over to the developer. The money closes into a trust account at a trustee bank. And then as the city acquires the infrastructure and inspects the infrastructure, that's when the money is, I guess, requisition is given to the developer to reimburse. So it's not just a blank check, developer, here you go. There's some steps involved in inspection of that infrastructure. I went fast. I'm sorry if I breezed over things. It's been a little while since we negotiated this back in 2022, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have on the PID itself. Representatives from P3 Works are here. They're the ones who authored the preliminary service and assessment plan, which is the next agenda item. They're happy in the wealth of knowledge. The city attorney has, of course, and her group has been looking at zoning and everything else and making sure we're adhering to the development agreement. So happy to answer any questions that you may have.
How many years does it take for the city to recoup their money that they're going to put up?
The city's not putting up any money.
I thought you said the payment back to the developer was 4-point-something million. Isn't that what you said?
Right. So
well, where does that 4 million come from?
The bonds that are being sold next council meeting.
So sold to BlackRock or whoever wants to buy the bonds. Yeah,
yes, sir.
Yeah, right. And then with your assessment, are you considering your values, homestead exemptions in those values?
So the PID assessment is not subject to a homestead exemption. Only the city's property taxes are.
Okay. It's the same way seniors over 65, their taxes aren't frozen for that.
The assessment?
Yeah.
So the assessment is, it's not, there's not an exemption for assessments, but for tax rates there are. But again, this is just for those future homeowners in there. There's a lot of disclosures that is required by law that they sign, that they know they're moving in and buying a home in a PID district.
What does that stand for?
Public Improvement District.
Oh, okay.
So I guess a little.
Is that like the city municipal utility district?
So a little bit different.
Okay.
So a municipal utility district is a separate political subdivision governed by its own board.
Right.
So a lot of times you see developers say, Even the law now allows developers to de-annex from your city limits or your
Well, that's what
ETJ.
the other addition down the road, the DR Horton is, right.
Right, that's a MUD, so the
Right,
city
right.
does not receive any taxes on that.
Right.
So this was a way we could induce annexation into the city by offering a public improvement district in the city.
So
gets-
has that been annexed into the
Yes, sir.
city limits?
Yes, sir.
So those residents will be citizens?
Yes, sir. And about $400,000 of tax revenue to the city, so.
I just, thank
You,
you.
you mentioned the houses sizes were gonna be 1,300 to 1,500 square feet,
That, there's a 1,300 square foot model and a 1,500 square. foot
and
model.
the price range was roughly 330,000 to 355,000 assessment.
330,000 for the smaller one, 350,000 for the larger.
Okay.
All one story?
Yes, I believe that's correct. Yes. Sorry, I'm not on the developer side.
Good luck, sir.
Can I ask a question? What are lot sizes gonna
There we
be?
go. Someone just said.
And what happens if they don't sell?
Yeah, here we go. Investors will buy them.
So the LGI homes, the question was, what are the lot sizes?
40, 50, and 60-foot wide lots.
That's right. 40, 50, and 60-foot wide lots. If the homes don't sell, so LGI is a publicly traded home builder. The assessment runs with the land. So if the homes don't sell, LGI is paying the assessment on those unsold homes.
Will we ever be made aware of what homes don't sell?
She said.
How many will be empty versus, because I guess I'm coming from the point of view, if they don't sell, you're willing to pay it. So therefore now these homes are going like 330 for a 1,300 square foot home. I have a 500, or sorry, I have a 2,000 square foot home. And so the tax value assessors are gonna look, hey, these homes are worth this price. So now my price is not gonna go up. Because and that's what I'm trying to avoid if I can, because I bought my house for a lot cheaper and I haven't made any improvements, and I feel like I'm getting screwed because someone's assessing houses. I have trouble believing that they're going for those prices.
It's just,
And it feels like if they're not selling and you guys are paying it, then they can justify, hey, these homes are, they're being paid for.
so first off, I'm not with the developer or the home builder. But these are the figures that they've given us that they're going to try to sell the homes with. My guess is it's a business decision. And if they're not selling, then they would lower the prices. That's what I don't know. I can't speculate on what they would do.
Then they can say, well, your house works.
Could they be rental properties?
Your house works.
He never sells.
There you go.
Yeah, they're the developers. There's no lot. That we're looking for.
Oh, I'm back on. You just came a little closer. There you go. Okay, item 10. Consider, discuss, and act upon resolution 2025-0401-002, determining the cost of certain authorized improvements to be financed within the Blue Ridge Crossing Public Improvement District, approving a preliminary service and assessment plan, including a proposed assessment role, and providing for noticing and calling a public hearing on May 13, 2025, to consider an ordinance levying assessments on property located within the Blue Ridge Crossing Public Improvement District. The council at this time will consider discussing and make a motion based on Mr. Floyd, the information that was given.
You got anything to add?
I do not. We do have a Schulte with P3. They're gonna be the ones that's going to manage the PID money, so Schulte.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm Jamie Schulte of P3 Works, the city's PID administrator. The preliminary service and assessment plan, the UC attached that resolution, our team drafted that. And as Edie mentioned, we will administer the PID. We'll come back every summer and do an annual update. We're here to help in any way. Homeowners in the PID can call us with questions. So as you review that document, if you have any questions for us, please let us know. When we come back in May, attached to the ordinance levying the assessments, you will see the service and assessment plan, which is the final version of this document. So the one you're seeing tonight is just preliminary. The one you'll see in May is final.
Okay, thank you.
I'm happy to answer any questions.
How about that? Did he answer it all for us? Thank you. So with that being said, we'll still need to make a motion to approve it. Okay.
Because in the verbiage on the third line does say preliminary. Yes.
Okay. So Keith, did you make a motion? Keith, had you made a motion? Okay. So I'll entertain a motion.
And I would ask that you read the complete title of the item.
Item number 10. Okay.
So, that would be,
Correct.
motion to consider, discuss, and act upon resolution 2025-04-01, 0401-002, turning the cost of certain authorized purpose to be financed. Open City Blue Ridge Crossing, Public Improvement District. Preliminary service and assessment plan including proposed assessment level and time of the noticing and calling public hearing on May 13, 2025, to consider an ordinance to levying assessment on property located in the Blue Ridge Crossing Public Improvement District.
Okay. So I have a motion by Keith. All in favor? Okay. Already done the audit. Okay, item 12. Consider, discuss, and act upon resolution 2025-0401-003, consenting to the creation of the Collin County Emergency Services District Number 1 and consenting to the inclusion of the city's extraterritorial jurisdiction within the proposed district and authorizing the mayor to execute a letter consenting to said creation and inclusion. Edie, would you like to give out the information we've received from the county regarding this?
So if you'll recall, we had a visit from our county commissioner at our last meeting, and he was talking about the county's emergency service district number 1. You will also recall that during that conversation, he spoke about the city council needing to make a decision about the ETJ, and that ETJ being our extraterritorial jurisdiction, that the fire district would or would not be included in that emergency service district. And that's what this is for today, is to make that consent.
Okay.
And I'll just add that under the health and safety code, because you received notice of the creation of the ESD when you did, I forget the date, but you have 60 days to take action to be included, otherwise you're not. Your ETJ would not be included in the ESD.
With that, we can't hear.
I can't hear.
Couldn't hear what you just said. Amy, I'm sorry.
So what I was just citing was the health and safety code provision that they have to make a decision whether to be included in have the ETJ included in the emergency services district within 60 days of the date they receive notice
And that is what this is for, because if they do not agree to be included, then they are not included. So the ETJ would be left without being in the ESC.
And there will be public hearings coming up regarding that as well, if it's included, if we choose this.
Correct.
Yes, it's for us saying that we want to be included in it, correct? Correct. So I'll make a motion based off, we'll take a motion, I'll have to read what's on the item number B, correct? Okay. Anything else?
Yeah, I make a motion, we accept, item number 12.
You have to read it.
Yes, we say yes. Consider, discuss, and act upon resolution 2025-0401-003, consenting to the creation of the Collin County Emergency Service District Number 1, and consenting to the inclusion of the city's extraterritorial jurisdiction within the proposed district, and authorizing the mayor to execute a letter consenting to said creation and exclusion.
Second by Dave, all in favor? Okay, all approved. Item number 13, correct?
Yes, if you wanted to delay item number 8 until after executive session.
Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot I had that on there, so.
So if you want to, delay that until after executive session as a current agenda item to be included.
Okay,
And then the A and B has already been addressed on 13.
correct, okay. So with that being said, in accordance with the Texas Government Code Section 551.001, the City Council will recess into executive session closed meeting to discuss the following. Consultation with attorney on a matter in which the duty of the attorney for the governmental body and the Texas disciplinary rules of professional conduct in the State Bar of Texas clearly conflicts with the chapter regarding. C, Senate SB 2038, Texas Local Government Code, Chapter 42, petition to withdraw from the city's extraterritorial jurisdiction, ETJ, for property described as all that certain lot, tract, or parcel of land situated in the JJ McNamara Survey, abstract number I-071, and RK Smith Survey, abstract number 887, Collin County, Texas, and being part of a tract of land described in the deed to SAP Properties LLC, Series 2, hereafter called SAP, as recorded in doc.com. .ko 2016-1103-001-496430 of the official public records of Collin County, Texas. And we'll also talk in special council regarding item number 8 in closed executive session. So that time will be at 9:59.
I gotta find
Alright.
Yeah.
Item number 14, reconvene into open session. In accordance with the Texas Government Code, Chapter 551, the City Council will reconvene into open sessions to consider action, if any, on matters discussed in executive session. Time is 10:37.
There are 2 items to consider coming out of the executive session, number 8 and also item C, that was the Senate Bill 2038 or Local Government Code Chapter 42 petition. So if there's motions on either 8 or that item.
And the item number 8, I make a motion to table resolution 2025-0401-001, appointing a city administrator for the city of Blue Ridge.
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor? Okay, none opposed. Then item C, It's SB 2038, Texas Local Government Code, Chapter 42, petition to withdraw from the city's extraterritorial jurisdiction, ETJ, for property described as all its certain lot, tract, or parcel of land situated in the JJ McMania survey, abstract number 1071, and the RK Smith survey, abstract number 887, Collin County, Texas, and being part of a tract of land described in the deed to SAP Properties LLC, Series 2, hereinafter called SAP, as recorded in Doc Co. 2016-11-03001496-430 of the official public records of Collin County.
I'll make the motion, that the acres at, Desert Creek, Texas Local Government Code, Chapter 42, subchapter petition to remove property from the city, jurisdiction, received on March 18th, be granted.
I have a motion by Dave. Do I have a second?
Second.
Keith seconds. All in favor? None opposed. Okay. So then we move to item number 15. Discussion of placing items on future agendas. Colby? Keith? David?
Got it.
Tammy? David? Okay, thank you. Item number 16 is adjournment.
I'll make the motion to adjourn.
Can we make a motion? Have a second?
I'll second it.
Oh, okay. Meeting adjourned at 10:40 p.m.
Thank you all.